I know that's why we do what we do, is so that you have the support, and we can ramp up if there's more needed, right? But it still allows you to be his wife.
I felt the support. I have felt the support. But I think the thing that has affected me the most in working with your agency is the flexibility I have felt. And that was right from the get-go. That was right from the get-go.
Yeah, we like to say that we don't set limits on helping people, that we can do 1 hour if needed all the way up to live-in care. You're watching A3 Aging Ann Arbor, where we talk about aging and what you need to know. I'm Faye Molitor.
And I'm Sheila Doeden.
Welcome to the show. Welcome back to A3 Aging Ann Arbor. We are insanely excited to have Ilene Segar here with us today. We have been working with Ilene's husband as a client. He's a client of ours for a little over a year now. I know. Isn't it crazy?
I thought it was longer.
Yeah, no, I just looked it up. We started January of 22. So it's a little over a year. No, it's 2
years.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, it's 2 years. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, see, my brain didn't wrap around it. That's why I saw a year. And I'm not even in 2024, just so you know. I'm still back in 2023. But anyway, it's been a little over 2 years. And what we wanted today is to get a real feel for what it was like for you and Bob to have our folks, real strangers, kind of, from the moment that maybe I visited for the assessment to what it looks like now. And that means all of the challenges that maybe you guys dealt with having strangers in your house, to what has been super helpful to you. So,
well, that's a big
to talk
question.
about.
So we'll start with what. How did you guys feel when you initially? I know you spoke with more companies than just us. So let's start with the very beginning of what it looks like for you guys to start this type of care.
Okay.
How you felt, all that.
Okay. Well, I knew that for my well-being, not so much for Bob's, I was getting up with him 4 or 5 times a night. And then I was unable to get back to sleep.
Yeah.
And I knew that for staying healthy and being able to be helpful, that was not a good thing.
Right.
So I think initially it was a question of having caregivers at night so that I wouldn't have to get up so many times. And I don't think either of us really had an initial problem in terms of the idea of a strange person, a new person coming in. I think it was when we started having more caregivers so that there were a lot of different people. And I don't know that it looks like that for other clients. But, I mean, we've had as many as 9 or 10 kind of throughout the day and night. And I didn't know how Bob would react to that. Well, that he wondered about it too, but that really hasn't been a problem. And I think that just happened because of who we be. I mean, basically, we enjoy people, and meeting new people is generally not threatening.
Sure.
So someone who may be of a different personality, like maybe an introvert, might have more trouble with having at least that many people. But that was not, it turned out not to be a problem at all.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So were there any of the folks that we sent that you felt were not a good fit? I mean, my question is how proactive were we if we needed to make a change? And how did you feel about that? Or did we not have to make a change because we were putting folks in there that you felt were appropriate for Bob?
Yeah. I would say for the most part, the different caregivers have been very appropriate. And again, with one exception, when it didn't work out, it was more, not because they weren't appropriate, it was like too much of what they were. So that it wasn't a good match. Truly,
Yeah.
it's all in the match. So when you're doing a good job,
Yeah.
it's the matchness but it's no different than a marriage or a doctor and a
Sure.
A marriage,
patient,
Yeah.
a teacher and a student.
Sure.
I mean, for one person, the match can be wonderful, and then the next person, it's a very bad match.
So when you say match, just want to be specific for the folks. Match means personality match,
Yes.
character match,
Yes.
all of that.
Yeah.
Because the skill set,
Yes.
if it's a good personality and you feel comfortable
Yes.
with them,
Yes.
the skill set can be learned.
Yes.
And okay, gotcha.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
It's more the personality match.
Yeah.
And I know for Bob, having the feeling that the caregiver is comfortable with themselves and comfortable with what they're doing,
Mhm.
because he feels when somebody is feeling
Sure.
not real comfortable.
Easy.
And
He's uneasy because they're uneasy.
Yes. And I think in some regards, like standing up, he's more uneasy just because he's having a
Trouble,
problem. with
right.
that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry. I want to backtrack
okay.
real quick because the folks don't understand why Bob would be not able to stand. And if you're comfortable with it, maybe explain exactly why you needed home care and what Bob's diagnosis is.
okay. Bob was diagnosed with Lewy Body Dementia. I'm not sure if it was 2016 or 2017, but he has almost all the features of Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And I found out subsequently from one of the neurologists that actually Parkinson's and Lewy body are on a spectrum together. And that Bob's this neurologist placed him in the middle. I find him much more toward the Parkinson's end. That's really where most of his problems come from.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. When I came in for the initial assessment and knew that I was walking into a Lewy body dementia diagnosis, what I experienced with Bob was absolutely the opposite of anything I'd ever seen Lewy body wise. He was totally cognitively good. It was just his movement that was completely compromised, and the kind of the bradykinesia, the slowed thinking and able to get it out, more so than any of the Lewy body that I had ever experienced over the 14 years of doing this. So, yes.
Well, it was interesting to me because the one cognitive symptom that he has expressed right from the beginning really is he doesn't know where he is in space, so that sitting and standing safely were a problem from the get-go. And once he had several falls and we knew that we needed more help during the day, it was because of that feature.
Yeah.
And that's still pretty much the COVID was not kind to us.
Right.
Yeah, he was going to exercise class 4 days a week. He was even Ubering by himself. And then COVID hit, and it took us a while to find an exercise person to come to the house. I think it was almost a year before.
Wow.
So there would have been other changes anyway. It's a degenerative condition.
Sure.
But I think maybe it happened sooner than it might have happened.
Yeah.
So did I leave something out that?
No,
Okay.
that's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted people to really understand because we're talking about why what home care looked like for you guys and how comfortable you were with it, but we weren't really letting the folks know maybe the reason that you needed the home care, number one, and number two, why maybe it is more a larger amount of hours that you need someone there. Some folks start very, very small. And we did when we started with you, but quickly we moved to 24-hour care.
Well,
so
not
almost.
really. Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, we were doing the nighttime because of my sleeping needs.
Right.
But the daytime was one day we had a longer day. That was a 7-hour daytime.
Yes.
But all the rest, it was like 4 hours, 3 hours, just to give me the possibility if I needed to get out.
Yes.
But Bob was in the hospital recently,
Right.
and he was in for 5 days, having nothing to do with the Lewy body.
Sure.
And we found out when we were there, just happenstance, that he has a blood clot in one leg. You didn't know that?
No. Holy cow, Eileen.
the whole-
I'm so glad he went in. I'm
Well,
just saying.
I view it as maybe someone somewhere.
Divine intervention.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Because the thing that brought him in was pain. Again, having nothing to do with the Lewy body. The pain went away and never came back.
Yeah.
But they saw what they thought was a blood clot. And it was a big one. And we don't know how long he's had it. He had
Wow.
none of the symptoms of a blood
Yeah.
clot. So I feel like it may have saved his life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a godsend.
Yeah, but being in the hospital for 5 days, and then I misinterpreted what I thought I understood at the hospital, and I made sure nobody stood him up when he was in the bed. So that added another almost week of being in a prone position.
Okay.
So I
weakness.
guaranteed
Yeah.
that he needed 24/7
Yeah.
for probably 8 weeks from the beginning. And we're, I don't know, 3 weeks into it or something like that.
Yes. Yes.
How's he
Wow.
feeling?
He's feeling good.
Good.
He's improving. He's always had a very good attitude and grateful for. We've been very lucky our whole lives.
He is super easy to be around.
Yeah.
You can tell it just has the greatest attitude.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does.
Like upbeat and grateful. It's very sweet. Getting back to when we started and all the faces coming through, how did you feel about all of let me put it this way. When we initially talked, you didn't want that many faces. You wanted to keep it to a minimum, as minimum as we could. And then you quickly came to the realization with the amount of care that we were providing that was going to be a challenge to have just a few faces. However, we do provide continuity. How did you feel about the fact that we were going to have to provide so many faces, and how has that kind of changed in your thinking now?
Well, it's interesting. I really didn't feel strongly one way or the other. I thought we would deal with it, and we did. But I came to be aware that different people bring different things to the party. And
That's a great way of putting it.
And they're all helpful things. So I mean, there are very positive relationships that he has with several of the caregivers, and they're all totally different from each other. So that was a good learning for me. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate the differences. And truly, it has spilled over to my perception of other things just in my life that has made life easier for me.
Sure, sure. That's great. That's great. And how about your kids? What do your kids think about all this?
Well, I think they've been very grateful that their dad has done as well as he has. This thing from the hospital, I think, kind of threw everybody for a loop, and they've gotten to know most of the caregivers, and we have 2 daughters in town, and our son is in Cleveland. So the Cleveland people don't meet the Ann Arbor caregivers as often.
Yes.
But it's kind of like they've become part of the family.
That's exactly how it should be, especially when we're working with folks for a long period of time. And the reason we want to provide continuity is because we want you to get to know them. We want them to get to know you. And it just ends up being like a big family. That's a comfort level of it. So that's good. I love that, Eileen. Do you have any thoughts, Sheila, on it?
I'm just happy that we're able to be there to support you and your kids and Bob and be an integral part of the day-to-day and give you the much needed rest so that you can sleep at night and we can be there with them and you can have time with them and just continue to be his wife. I know you're part of the caregiver aspect of it as well, but I know that's why we do what we do, is so that you have the support and we can ramp up if there's more needed, right? But it still allows you to be his wife.
Yeah,
and your
no,
kids
that's
to be
key.
his kids, and they don't have to be the people providing the day-to-day care all of the time.
Well, we're certainly fortunate in being able to do that. I know there are a lot of people
Yes.
that can't, and I have a lot of empathy when those are difficult aspects of life together
Yeah.
with someone that's struggling with that.
Mhm.
I will say that I felt the support. I have felt the support, but I think the thing that has affected me the most in working with your agency is the flexibility I have felt. And that was right from the get-go. That was right from the get-go.
Yeah, we like to say that we don't set limits on helping people, that we can do 1 hour if needed all the way up to live-in care, and that we're always available, like 24/7 around the clock for any need that you have, any changes you need to make. Yes, that's important. I mean, there's no comfort in somebody walking in and saying, this is the way we're going to do it. And you have to live by our rules. We're living by your rules, Eileen, because it's your home and it's Bob's home and we want it to be the way you need it. What would you tell folks? What are the key elements that you would say would be things that folks should really consider in bringing home care in, the more private duty or non-medical side of home care in? What, after having us there for 2 years, do you have thoughts on what maybe people should look at and the questions that maybe they should ask?
I think what different people need is different for different people.
Sure.
And I'm not sure I'm doing it so well. I think they should consider what's important to them personally in how to use this time when caregivers are there. I have trouble with that one.
Yeah.
I have a lot of trouble with that one.
In what aspect? Is it because you don't necessarily need them to do things around the house? You want them to specifically be with Bob, or?
I have trouble doing the things that would probably be good for me to do.
Oh, so you're relinquishing some of the
Yes,
duties that you have on your
Caring for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
the caring, I know it's important, and for some people, it's probably more important than others.
Mhm.
And for me, I think these things are important, but do I make it a priority?
Yeah.
No, I have trouble doing that.
Yeah.
And some of it is probably control freak tendencies that not because of trust, just because
Sure.
of how I be.
Well, he's your husband.
Well, it's not even that. It's just
It's Eileen.
yes. It's yeah. I have no trouble going out and grocery shopping.
Yeah.
It's maybe having lunch with somebody,
Yeah.
or even talking on the phone.
Mhm.
Lately, probably even before he went into the hospital,
Mhm.
I would be reluctant to make a phone call to someone that I know it's hard to get off the phone with.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
I
huh.
mean,
That's
not having
interesting.
nothing to do with whether I want to be. I mean, I might want to,
Sure.
but I have trouble, saying I have to go now, and I do it, but I'm aware that I'm making much fewer. Not that I ever made a lot of them,
Sure.
but there was always a time in the day where I could find
Time.
time to do it, and I'm finding that
Mhm.
difficult now. So in a way, it's cutting me off from people, and I think that's one of the things that's important as you're getting older, and especially if you are a caregiver,
Yeah.
to keep important people in your life. And some people need that more than others.
Sure.
If they're an introvert, they might not need as
Right.
much of that. I happen to be someone who really needs it. So, but I'm having trouble doing it.
Yeah. Is it guilt?
No,
Okay.
no, it has.
It's just because you just feel like you should not be focused on you and your social time right now?
No, it's like the time evaporates.
Oh.
It just is gone.
I gotcha.
And I just have time fitting it in.
Yeah. So there's just so much time in a day.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you want to focus on the things that need to get done.
Yes, exactly.
And those things are
exactly.
not necessary.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I haven't had caregivers do laundry
Yeah.
because that's one of the areas that I'm really a control freak.
Okay.
Not that it takes that much time
Yeah.
to prep the clothes,
Right.
but I am a little freaky about it.
So were you surprised by all of the things that we could help with if you accepted the help? Or did you just kind of already have a feeling that if we were coming in that we were available for all of those things?
I think I knew about it
Okay.
from hearing, from seeing
Yeah.
with other friends. No, I don't think that was a surprise to
Okay,
me.
good. This has been a really good conversation, Eileen. We really appreciate you coming on and talking to us very frankly about what home care looked for you guys.
Well, I enjoyed being here. Thank you.
You're
Thank you
very-
for everything.
Yeah, oh, you're so welcome. This episode was sponsored by Senior Helpers Ann Arbor. If you're looking for more information on home care, please don't hesitate to reach out. That was A3 Aging Ann Arbor, your source for all things aging.
Please like, share, and subscribe for more episodes. Thanks for watching.
This episode was sponsored by Senior Helpers of Ann Arbor.